Today, I'll be talking about gaming as the third wave of blockchain adoption. So the question mark is there because I don't have a magic crystal ball predicting crypto in the future and what's going to happen. It's kind of challenging so far. I know like media usually likes to ask, it's going to be with Bitcoin, but yeah. Today, we're going to be looking into data that we have right now and the trends that are happening. But first, we can go a little bit and look in the past to see what has happened to understand better the future. Well, first, when Bitcoin was created, it created this possibility of people that really had a possibility now to own the financials that they have. So like money, like it's not in your bank, you really own it, it's yours. So that's what kind of a Bitcoin brought us as this peer-to-peer electronic cash. And yes, we've seen that people do like the idea of that, and we've seen some adoption years and years ago. Then we only had like money to transact and send around, but we needed more. So we were able to, with creation of Ethereum first and then other networks, we will be able to not only send money, but also to put data on blockchain. And this has enabled us to build decentralized applications and then allow users to own data, and this has all created use cases and applications that we've seen in decentralized finance, then with NFTs, DAOs, and some other use cases that maybe shouldn't have been ever created, but in any way, like we had the now ability to own the data as well. And even today, like millions and millions of users like using these decentralized applications today. And what would the third wave actually could be is kind of a combination of both of these things that we've seen in before, and that's gaming and other similar like experiences, the connected virtual worlds that we are now calling metaverses are being able to have now created. This is kind of a pretty interesting stat that was like also initially shocking to me. Like, what? 50% is gaming? And they're like, always when I present this, it's like, what's the catch? I mean, there are a few, but really 50% is gaming still. First question is, is gambling included? So like, what do you think? Is this gambling as well, or it's separated? Okay, change of people knew. It's gaming, like gambling is a separate category. So even though this is the stats from last year, like I've checked, and like even today we are seeing around 45% of traffic month to month. Well, when it comes to gaming as well, only in Q1 this year we've seen a lot of money, like close to $1 billion, getting into this small space that's Web3 gaming still. So it's kind of visible that also like investors and VCs are looking into innovation. We've also seen big players entering the space, sometimes in their own ways with patents, but in any case, it definitely is a certain validation to the whole Web3 gaming adoption, because yes, big brands are needed for that. But Web3 gaming, what that actually is and what is being considered by that, I do like to separate it into two categories. One is maybe a case that's more often, and that's allowing digital assets that you have to be represented as NFTs, for example. So having registered digital assets on chain. With NFTs, they are like unique, And because of blockchain transparency, you can actually see how many exist. And if we represent items or characters as NFTs, especially items, it adds this additional level of rarity because it's really visible and verifiable on-chain. So NFTs add real value of scarcity and authenticity when it comes to digital assets. If I say ERC20, how many people will understand what's that? Okay, we have a few hands in the air. So with ERC20, that's kind of just basic crypto. It's you can have like 100, just kind of let's say it's crypto, and with tokens, you can create like these player-driven economies. One example to better understand is what I first saw was a few years back when Axie Infinity game was kind of created and started to be more and more popular. Like, I really like the case where they use these potions. So in the game, you have like creatures, Axies, that you can breed. And to be able to breed, like you need to have potions. You can get them through the game, or you can buy them, like traditional games. And in this case, like these potions, so like you needed 5 potions to breed an Axie, and they represented these potions as tokens. And how to buy tokens? It was a formula that was on-chain. And how it worked, it was balancing kind of the supply and demand. So the more Axies that were being bred, then the higher the price was of the potions. So it kind of balanced out this economics that not too many Axies is being created and leading to kind of a better experience. So yeah, that's kind of one thing like where a lot of current games can do and just kind of use NFTs very much easily to achieve such things. But another thing is what we like to say on-chain gaming. That does include like NFTs or any kind of tokens, but it also includes like having game logic and game state completely on the network. So that way, it's kind of an autonomous like world on its own that's kind of a self-governed. I mean, why would you do that? I mean, first of all, like, why not? It's a pretty kind of a good also way of games where a community is kind of a more engaged, and it is kind of governed by community. Another thing that people can use are like hybrid models. So you don't put everything on blockchain because it could slow down your game or whatever you have, but you only put parts of it. We've seen so far that people use it for like game logic. So like community can extend the game logic and build kind of on top of your game. Or they put just kind of important parts that you want to be trustless on the chain, and I don't know, like rewards distribution. Like that's kind of a pretty important part for users, so they put it on chain. So that's kind of also like a hybrid model that's being used. Also the why of it all, like why the players or game studios should care? Well, it adds a new value proposition for both users and game developers, game studios. For users, that's a new and immersive type of experience in the whole gameplay. And for game studios, it adds this kind of another level of creativity they can offer, but as well change the infrastructure costs that they have and the matter of how they acquire users, for example. We've seen kind of before from the history that ownership is important. When it comes to games, it's not a secret that players put hours and hours of playing the game in their life. And what they end up with is kind of not owning the asset or character that they put so many hours in, but basically anything can happen tomorrow, from being banned to game is gone. So you would not like that, I guess. Here's an example. Game is using NFTs. It allows characters to be NFTs. Then those NFTs, those characters, can own other items that are maybe equipable, that are also NFTs. The more and more play, the more experience they get, so this NFT is valued more, and that kind of brings them to earning potential for the users. Another cool thing that Web3 gaming brings is kind of something completely new that we haven't seen so far, or we haven't been able really to see because it's hard to create in closed walled gardens. But with like Web3, like you can basically allow people to build on top of your games. So we'll kind of still have to see like how does that look like in the future, and how will game studios, especially the bigger ones, use that? Because like so far, even like having decentralized, it's a closed ecosystem. But yeah, basically, what you can do is kind of allow your partners to easily be able to kind of use, I don't know, characters from one game to your game, and etc. And also like just allow people to, build additional gameplays and additional experiences on top of your game, and it add value to your game. Additional thing is that studios can further activate dedicated communities of players. So this basically means that they're able to create microeconomies in a sense of communities like to engage with games. We've seen that with kind of Fortnite or Minecraft, where community is the one building customized mods or maps or whatever. So in this case as well, like they're able to kind of extend the game and build their own things, kind of maybe extend that logic that's on chain, and be able to kind of contribute in a safe way with this kind of infrastructure. Additionally, developers can create engaging and self-sustaining game experiences. So in any creative ways, maybe like airdrops that you can't really see anywhere else except in kind of a Web3 world, is a kind of a way to attract customers and also kind of be sustainable in building your own game. It's not all flowers, rainbows, and sunshines, because in 2021, Ubisoft, the big game studio, they had a backlash from community from trying to use NFTs. In their defense, it wasn't the best time to do it, because around NFTs back then was like, how much was which NFT sold for. It was more about the money. So people that were not already in the space didn't quite get it. So now that's kind of changing, and people are starting to understand that NFT is not just a scam. But yeah, there was certain backlash, and gaming industry is a passionate one. So yeah, things kind of take time. Where does ChainSafe sit in all of this? Well, we do what we do best, and that's building infrastructure. We allow and leave game studios to build games as they that know the best. So that's why we kind of build the open source developer platform. So if you're a Unity developer, want to build a game that connects to blockchain, transacts, trade NFTs in-game, you're able to use that with our toolkit. If you want to experiment, you would not be the only one. We do have 150 plus teams in production, so please join us to experiment. I did leave some time for the questions, so thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Belma. Well, we have some questions. Do you think including crypto or NFTs in gaming will make gaming too expensive and less reachable?
As I kind of said, there are like different models, like how do you incorporate games in the realm of Web3 and blockchain. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive. I don't think everyone will play a game that's like, I don't know, every day you spend $50 to play it. But there are ways to kind of go around that, as infrastructure is also like being like more developed. Like, we're still kind of an early state where it is young. So like in the future, I don't think that will be a problem at all. Like right now, it's even avoidable. So, yeah.
Okay, and does owning an NFT, for example, in a video game also present a digital asset of ours?
Sorry, does...
Does owning an NFT, for example, in a video game also present a digital asset?
I mean, yes, like NFTs are digital assets, so it's just a matter of they do live on chain, but yeah, they're registered digital assets.
Okay, and the last question, blockchain is already getting included into gaming. What do you think is next? Where will blockchain be incorporated into next?
Oh, you mean outside gaming?
Yes.
Outside gaming, like, I mean, I guess the first case and the one that we are also in the industry are proud with is the DeFi systems. So like decentralized finance is kind of a pretty big thing that shown it works. And we see even like banks entering the space. We see a lot of money going around in DeFi systems. So it's not, I would say it's kind of already like a serious thing. That will become even more bigger because, yeah, it does offer financial services without any intermediaries. But yeah, as for others, I'm currently excited about gaming. I don't know, about the fourth wave, we'll see. Not there yet.
Thank you very much, Belma.
Thank
Big
you all.
round of applause for Belma Gutlic. Thank you.
Thank you.